Hello, I am Tom Schultz, and this is going to be a quick and silly talk, EZPZ lemon squeezy, embedding Lua in Godot. All right, so it's late night. We're all working on Godot stuff, and we're hacking on our latest prototype, making really amazing decisions. Also, I just want you guys to look at how many polygons are on my beautiful work here. Look at that square. So high resolution. So we're late night prototyping. This is a simulation game. That's an engine. It's very complex. Like all the different parts in there are actually individually simulated. Data's flowing around, moving through it. And very complex. So here's like a quick, like you can see all of this is just the data flow and the way things move. It's all intricately linked together, yada, yada, yada. I'm prototyping, so I've got a ton of little scripts, one for each node. And wow, they're not very complex, right? Here we have the igniter in the engine that ignites the fuel with each cycle. I've got durability of the part. I've got power. I've got gunk in the engine. How dirty is this part? And my burner ignition rate, the success at ignition, is my durability times my power minus my gunk. Very simple. I want to change this. Oh, gosh, I've got to go into each part. I've got to change this little function. What a pain in the butt. Oh, my gosh. Well, my inputs to this are already in the inspector. I've got my gunk, my durability, etc., and I've got my outputs. I'm a very professional programmer, so it's all dictionaries. Maybe that is a professional programmer thing. I don't know. What if though? What if when I'm modifying my defaults in the inspector, I could also do some scripting in the inspector and change this while I'm poking around in Godot? Seems pretty rad. Seems pretty easy. Just doing a little critter like this, where I have an output object and a bunch of inputs, and I do my thing, do a little bit of fancy math here, add a clamp in there, which wasn't in my previous screenshot for some reason. How hard could it possibly be to embed some scripting into the inspector? It turns out super easy, actually. So this little studio called Weasel Games has a plugin called Godot Lua API. So you have a Lua API class that is our whole Lua context. You tell it what libraries you want because it's sandboxed. By default, there's nothing in there. And the real key thing of nothing is nothing like file, operating system stuff, no network stuff, nothing. So you give it the Lua base. I added in the math thing. Lua doesn't come with a clamp function by default, so you execute a little bit of Lua code here. Do string just says, here, do a string. Run this Lua code, evaluate it and run it, and I'm just creating a clamp function in the context. That's my setup. Every time I want to run that little script I show you guys, I call this calculate function. Processor is the script string I pass in. Don't worry about reading this. I'm going to go too fast. But inputs, I pass in my inputs. I push them into the Lua context. I run a little bit of code, check if I've gotten an error, if I do scream and run away. And then I pull my data back out of there, and this library pushes and pulls variants in and out, right, which is super nice. Lua is dynamically typed. GDScript is dynamically typed. It works quick. And then this last little for loop is just me taking the outputs and pushing them into my dictionary that's actually attached to the simulation here. This is it. This is embedding Lua in your game. Super easy. The one caveat I will say is that this Lua library is no longer maintained. I found that out. So user beware, but it still works. Also, if anyone tells you something is sandboxed and they don't have $1 billion in their pocket to fund entire engineering departments to sandbox it, maybe don't trust them entirely, right? Sandboxing is a truly hard and expensive problem to solve. But Chris reminded me that the Roblox company has Luau, which is a sandbox Lua that they maintain. So if you really do want sandbox Lua, go do that. So yeah, I got here. We have inspector scripting. Wow, look at this. I can be looking at my part in my scene. There's my little, again, super high poly igniter there. I can write this script. I can do this thing, and it's like 2 in the morning, and I'm very proud of myself smiling. And I'm looking at this, and the smile fades from my face, and I'm just like, wow, this is actually kind of worthless. It's probably faster for me to just go edit the GD script, to go to the script tab rather than having to go into the scene for each part and click around. Why did I do this? And then I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I'm a senior engineer or whatever. They probably have good instincts to do something like this, like turning behavior into data. And when you've got a complex simulation like this, and you've got a lot of moving parts, there's actually some really cool things you can do when you start turning behavior into data that can be swapped around. If we zoom in on my graph, and I didn't mention this, but this graph here is like something you can pull up at runtime and watch the data move around, watch the values change. There's also an edit script button on each of these. So guess what? At runtime, I can edit the behavior of this simulation and watch things move around. If I'm trying to get something to move in a different direction, I can open up a bunch of different parts and be modifying them at runtime, which is a really handy feature. For this case, it's nice. It's not a killer app. For something like narrative, on the other hand, this is a different game I worked on, a little adventure game that I worked with an author who's not a game developer at all. I did a similar system for a narrative thing where it just loaded a YAML file at runtime. And all I had to do to get him to be able to work on this was hand him a copy of my game and this YAML file, and he could edit it, reload it at runtime, test it, edit, test. Really great cycle for someone who's non-technical or doesn't want to install game engines or tools like Ink or another narrative engine out there. So really awesome capability. Anytime that you can turn behavior and other things like that into data, you can start building tools for other people. And of course, the other nice thing is modding, right? So this actually doesn't exist. I made this just for you guys as an example. But my igniter here could all be data in a YAML file. And when I ship that to my beautiful community and make millions and millions of dollars, and people are so engaged with my game that they want to make custom content, guess what? The behavior of these parts is right there, and they can just modify them in a YAML file. It's Lua. It's very common. So these are some really awesome benefits to embedding another scripting language, even if Lua is really just kind of like GDScript with a different name on it, and a really tight, well-written core of C code that we love and is beautiful. There are benefits to embedding it into Godot. So that's all I have for you guys. Super speed. Does anyone have questions for me? Yes?
Can you tell us a little bit more about that graph?
Oh, sure. That graph. Ooh, buddy. This is the graph edit, I believe is the name of the class. And when you go into this in the documentation, it will say, hey, this thing is super experimental and it's gonna break soon. Because this is not a stable API. In fact, this is made in 4.3, and when I tried to upgrade it to 4.6, it exploded. So that's what this is built in. I believe that the only use of this in the game engine is there's some graph edit tool. Visual shaders that's what this is built for. That's the only thing. It is a bit of a pain to work with, so the disclaimer that the API is going to change is warranted. But it is handy. And basically all of these are like a little control node that you can literally put any control node you want inside of it. So please create some monstrosity and send us screenshots. Yeah, that's that. If I was going to redo this in the future, I might do something else. Just that I could do, like, it would be really cool if there were like flowy lights as data walker. You know, that'd be sweet. Yeah, what's up? That's okay. I remember it already. Have I ever compiled Arch Linux? The answer is yes. Next person. No, that was me using the highlight function in an image editor.
Oh, okay. You were just, okay.
Yeah, this? Nope.
Or just in the editor itself, yeah, there. Like, so what maybe the top is just what it naturally does with dictionaries, but then in the inspector thing.
Oh, inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all of the colors there is just me calling out that this is gunk and that's gunk with like an image editor. Yeah.
The other question, so I've done something maybe on a smaller scale with the GDScript expression class and kind of building that into a resource. And I'm wondering, is just do you get like more full feature scripting if you do it with Lua, or what are the other benefits?
I would say no. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I thought through this exhaustively when I made the decision because it was 2 in the morning, right? I just was like, I'm going to embed Lua. I've never done that before. But I will say this. If you use GDScript expression, you will have no sandboxing, and whatever scripts get run have full access to the OS class. And you're handing anyone running the game remote code execution on their own machine. But like, you see what I'm saying? Like, typically, any kind of eval in code is evil until proven otherwise. So that's why this like sandboxed Lua is where I can just say there's no OS library in here is a good idea. Yeah.
in the inspector with a combination of
Yeah, there's actually a code edit thing too that is what they use to implement the GD script editor. So there's syntax edit, there's the code edit. I could have that syntax highlighting in there. I'm way too lazy for that. Yeah.
So this little processor box here, was that given by the library that you used, or is that something that?
That's a string export.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. This is not a string export, or it's a string export, and there's an export. I forget what they call it. Does anyone remember? Export multi-line. So it's an additional, or no, it replaces the export, and so it'll like at export multi-line var or whatever, and it'll give you that text edit box. I totally forgot that I did that. Thank you. Good call out. Anyone else? We are a few minutes past. I should actually cut myself off. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We'll have more lightning talks tomorrow. And give a big round of applause for Sanal and for Aaron.